you'll be able to come back and watch it nice and smooth without the choppiness. I don't know how long my internet connection is going to last, because it's home internet. It saves me from having to go from place to place and try to get a cable hookup, or it doesn't restrict me to RV parks and locations to where I have to have cable. So until Elon Musk can bring that Starlink down to some manageable numbers for my budget, we're going with T-Mobile home internet. Well, let's get our first guest on the show, and I'll kind of peek over from time to time and see if Nikki joins us. Now, you might remember Nikki. Nikki was one of our co-hosts here on the show, and actually I scored a pretty sweet shotgun off him now. So we'll see if he jumps on a little bit later. But right now, let's bring to the show my friend, who I knew as the Duck Man way back in the day, is now
Mr. ADHD.
Mr. ADHD, the Duck Man. Boy, those were some fun matches, man. I tell you, I really had a good time. I had so much fun with pro wrestling, and I'm kind of sorry that didn't pan out to be able to stay in that community. But how you been?
I've actually been pretty good. Life is always interesting and challenging.
I'm sure. Yes. Now, you moved up to Washington State for a little while. Is that correct? And now you're back here in Austin?
Right. 2.5 years. And now I've been back for 2 years. And coincidentally, I'm in Seattle for a birthday, my granddaughter.
So back and forth. Well, the Pacific Northwest and Austin aren't that different, really.
No, not at all.
Politically and demographically and stuff like that. But anyway, when I knew you, you were the Duck Man. Now, we follow each other on Facebook. I've kind of followed you throughout the years. And I got to be honest, it was a surprise to me when you came out on social media and said, "Hey, I'm transitioning. I'm becoming I'm a woman." And I'm sure that you've run into that. Could you just talk us through, first of all, what was the decision to pursue your life as a woman now? And was it something that was building up over time, or did you kind of just know it your whole life? Or kind of walk us through that process.
This all really started about when I was 8 years old. And my whole life, I always had an excuse or reason why not to do it. Fear or society, how I would get through life. And ultimately, I had a trans child, one of my stepkids, and that became inspirational to me. And that got me to go to a doctor. And right from there, it was go. It has been about, 5 years now?
Yeah, about 5 years. Now, have you fully transitioned yet, or are you still in the process?
It's a lifelong process. You're never there. And one of the things I say to people is that no matter how much I do, I'll never fully be a woman, right?
Yeah.
I can live it as much as possible, but I'll never be there 100%, right?
Now, and this is a personal question. You don't have to answer it, but are you looking to get the surgery to physically transition to a woman?
That's been something on my mind, but never something I felt I needed to have. So I just haven't done it. Probably never will.
Okay. Now, of course, we hear in the media and stuff like that about the challenges that people have that have come out as trans, and what kind of challenges have you run into? I mean, first of all, what was the impact when you decided? Was it overnight, or did you kind of ease into it? What was the process to let your friends and family know, hey, I'm Devina now?
I'll be honest, it was pretty much stopping on a dime and taking a 180. It was no smooth, soft transition. One day I said, I'm doing this. No more excuses. And half of the people were not surprised because they've known me for so many years, and everybody else was really supportive.
Now, of the people that weren't supportive, what was the biggest pushback? just why, or did they come up with reasons? Was there an intervention at all?
No, honestly, the only person I really had an issue with, someone close to me, was my sister, and she's a lesbian. And she gave me flack about how the doctors could ever give me estrogen. It was irresponsible. Which surprised me because I figured of all people, her being a lesbian, she would want to support me.
Now there has been some pushback with the gay and lesbian community, with the trans movement that's afoot now. A lot of it negative. Have you run into that other than your family member? Have you run into that just in your daily living, or?
Honestly, living in Austin is more community, I believe, at least where the communities I'm at, that they all try to support each other. Now, I'm from the East Coast, and back in the day, 80s, whatnot, the lesbian and gay community and the trans community, I just didn't really get along very well. But I haven't run into that here in Austin.
Now, up in the Northwest, they kind of have the same, I want to say mindset, but the same kind of ideological base in the community. Which place was easier to live? Washington, Seattle area, or down here in?
It's the same. I've had no issues as far as either place. As a general sense, there's situations from time to time where you come across someone who's hateful or does not want to accept other people's differences.
Well, I think
which I had that with the dojo that I was a part of. I was an instructor, I was a black belt, a sensei, and I had left because I had injuries, and then I started transitioning, and my son was going there, and it turned into a big whole deal because it was a very Christian conservative community, and having me there as involved was a problem. But it's very few and far between.
So do you still do that here in Austin? Do you still instruct and?
No, it's been years.
How about wrestling? Do you still wrestle?
No, I don't wrestle. It's been a long time. I actually hurt my neck training in San Antonio. And so since then, I've been working more behind the scenes. And that's mostly with Mission Pro Wrestling.
Now, is that with AAPW or no?
No. Mission Pro Wrestling is Thunder Roasters company.
Oh, okay. All right.
In San Antonio.
Got it. Yeah, I'm about halfway between San Marcos and New Braunfels, so I'm right between Austin and San Antonio. So if I want good Mexican food, I drive south. If I want good breakfast tacos, I drive north. I have not found one place in San Antonio that makes a good breakfast taco. Now I'm keeping the search continues, but anyway. Now a lot of the pushback, I think, from the community at large is, of course, we get affected by propaganda, and the propaganda, it's a kind of an all or nothing thing, especially with this latest shooting. And I want to make something perfectly clear: with any shooting that happens, it doesn't matter what the person thinks, who the person is, what gender they are, what gender they say they are, what community they're from. That individual is responsible, not the entire community. So if a trans person has a mass shooting, not every trans person is guilty. Just like not every white person, every black person, every Jew, Gentile, Protestant, Catholic. It's the individual that made the decision to go do that, not the community. Having said that, one of the hot button topics with the trans community, especially with the folks that are, I guess, not supporters would be the word, is the shows, the drag shows, which they're marketing to kids. Also, the trans women reading books in the library, all that kind of stuff. what is your feeling on that? And I'm going to compartmentalize it because for the simple fact that if a man dressed as a woman reading a book in a library, there's nothing sexual about that, and that's a parental, that's a decision that the parents have to make. Uh, but that's a lot different than a drag show, at least with the footage I've seen. And I was actually security at one where kids were allowed in, and it was like a strip club. So I think that's kind of where the disconnect with the community and the trans community is. What are your thoughts on that?
For me, the drag shows in general are just about the lip syncing, the singing, over the top makeup and dressed up. But then you have a lot of them that are very sexualized, the way they dance and whatnot. I don't know if you saw WrestleMania, but Bianca Belair had kids on that were dancing like they were in a strip club or at a nightclub. So what's
Yeah.
how we have our kids doing things and then we blame other? It makes no sense to me. If an over-the-top character wants to come out and read stories to the kid, that's fine. Are they performing sexually on stage while they do that? No, they're just dressed up, over-the-top makeup. They are a character themselves, and they're winning the kids. Who cares?
Now, and I'm with you on that. I mean, the drag shows that I've been to are usually, or drag queens that I've seen are usually impersonating Cher, Bette Midler. They're singing songs or lip syncing to songs.
Right.
But the show that I saw, and I'm not going to, well, why not? The A-Loft, Caroline's upstairs at A-Loft, it was the type with the lap dancing and the money. And I don't support any, there's a reason why you don't take kids to a strip club. And there's a reason, and there's a reason why having a kids menu at Hooters is kind of sketchy. But Hooters and a drag show where you got some adult grinding up on a child are two different things. And I know the comparison is there on the Facebook and stuff like that. Hooters is pretty harmless as far as that's concerned. But not only is the pushback there with that kind of drag show, but also the pushback is with the transitional process being allowed to happen on kids under 18. And I think that's the big one. So, of course, it's an all or nothing. There's no debate anymore. There's no discourse. There's no compromise. It's just all or nothing. So all that gets lumped into what I think is the keystone of this whole debate, and that is allowing parents to have their kids take the hormonal blockers, the puberty blockers, in some cases even going through the physical transition from male to female or female to male when they're minors under the age of 18. What's your thoughts on that?
The easiest argument I have for this is, can a parent allow their 13-year-old kid go buy a gun, buy cigarettes, buy alcohol, any of these things, vote, join the military, right? So if they can't do that, because the child's not mature enough to make the decisions with that, how is the child mature enough to make the decisions to change their sex and gender before they've ever gotten through puberty to begin with?
So do you think that should be outlawed? Do you think the government should step in and outlaw that? Because here's my argument on this. Because I think it should be against the law. And I don't think any child should transition or take any medication that's body altering unless medically you have to. Now, I know puberty blockers are used for a medical condition. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But that's for a specific medical condition. That's not because this boy wants to be a girl when they're 9 or 12.
Right.
Here's where my argument comes in. I see parents trying to live vicariously through their kids. Maybe if this child has some very progressive parents, just like that daddy ballin' coach in Little League and in youth football with his son trying to live vicariously through their kids, I see it where it can be abused, where a parent will uh, will basically convince this child, who in those ages want nothing better than to please their parents, to get talked into, no, honey, I know you're a boy, but you really want to be a girl. So we're going to do all this stuff, which is lifelong changes to a person's body, up to the point where they might not even be able to be intimate and have sex when they become adults, because that destroys all that stuff.
Right.
So that's my argument. Let them. I would say support them. Let them dress how they want to dress. Don't give them any medication. Don't go through any surgeries. And after 18 years old, if once they move out of the house or once they get out on their own, if they still feel that way, support them in whatever they want to do transitional wise. But 18 and under, I think that's where a lot of people are getting turned off by the whole movement. Is that
right? And it's becoming medical mutilation, right? When you're destroying parts of the body, just because you can't see the effects doesn't mean the mutilation's not there, right?
Well, exactly, and I think a lot of this is psychological too. I mean, you made the psychological choice to say, look, I want to be a woman. I want to dress like a woman. I want to be treated like a woman, which is absolutely your right. But when you're talking about kids, yeah, I think we agree. Now, what's the kind of feeling within the trans community on that? Is there, is that kind of the underlying consensus, or is there factions within the trans community where there's one side that says kids should be able to transition to whatever age because we got to support them and it's gender affirming and all this, and the other side saying, nah, we probably need to wait till they're 18? And what do you say?
Honestly, I think it comes down to generational. Who are the people that believe they have to be PC and everything? You can't speak out. You have to agree with everybody, and those people will go, let kids do what they want to do. But then you have people that think more logically what makes sense and what's responsible, who will say it. Like, I don't care who likes what I have to say. I'm going to say it because it's what I believe. It's my opinion. And my opinion may not be right for everybody, but it's still what I have, and I'm going to post it.
Now, you said you had a grandchild who is trans. What?
Oh, no,
stepchild. Stepchild.
Yes.
At what age did he or she decide this is the gender I want to identify at?
So this was probably about 13 years old. I don't want to get into too much personal who they are, but
yeah.
They had issues with their own father, who was all about the boy. Not, you're a girl, you can. Am I chopping in and out because it's weird for me?
Yeah, that chopped up a little bit.
Okay, are we better?
Now you're back. Yeah.
Okay, so she came back for the fathers, wanted to cut off the hair, had always been a tomboy, which I grew up when tomboys had nothing to do with your sex or gender. You were just a tomboy, you grew up, you were still a woman. Right? So now you have a child who decided they wanted to be a boy. And I support how you live, but I disagreed with taking any medical steps. But her mother allowed her to do all that and become a boy, taking estrogen, taking testosterone, had surgeries. Now, at this point, they are not, and I hate using the word they, but there's still kind of a he-she middle ground there because they're still unsure completely, right? But have regrets about doing certain things medically that they're like, I never should have done that as a child. And this is coming from someone who's now an adult who regrets doing it as a child. And they're transitioning back to more female, but still can be that tomboy.
Yeah. So I used to have a producer. I am now the producer. So that's why I kind of checked out, because I'm trying to get the second segment fired up here. So I think the common ground we can find is that after you're an adult in this country, you can live any way you want. I don't believe that people should be forced to use gender pronouns, because there's just some people that, for whatever reason, their belief system doesn't extend that far. However, common courtesy and just being a good human to another human, I'll call you whatever gender you want and treat you accordingly. But I think one of the, and this is what got Jordan Peterson in a lot of trouble, is that Canada decided to jump on and they've since passed it, and said if you misgender somebody, you can be brought up on criminal charges. Now, I don't agree with that at all, and here's why. Because I've run into some transgender women who, and I'm not kidding, look just like me. And the only thing that they've done is put on eyeshadow. Now, in the 80s, that means you're the lead singer of a band.
Right.
Now it's like, what am I? And if I misgender somebody, not meaning to, not trying to force my ideology on somebody, but if they're not making the effort, and the viral video of the transgender woman who, I got to be honest with you, didn't really look like a woman, and some poor guy in a video store said, "Guys, this is, hey guys, can you get your
right?"
And she went off. But I don't believe
for me.
Oh, go ahead.
I know I have a very manly voice. I didn't start transitioning until I was in my 40s. That's never going to change my voice, no matter what. I've tried doing voice therapy. It's not changing. So I can go into a place and I hear my voice, and that creates a mental block for them that says, this is the guy I'm dealing with. It doesn't matter that I have a makeup on, I have $8,000 boobs. Whatever I'm dressing, they hear the voice. And so I can shake my head. I'm like, do you not see what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
But I don't get mad. I don't get mad. Is this a person in my life? No, there's someone at a drive-thru. Whatever. And if they choose to, I guess, humor me, that's fine. You know, if they want to call me she, her, ma'am. Personally, I don't like being called ma'am. It makes me feel old. But it's...
Hey, Devina, we are old.
That's true. I'm 51 years old.
I hate to break it to you in this format, and it's public and everything, but we're old. Both of us.
Yeah, I know.
We're there already.
So people can believe what they want to believe. And I will tell people, I am not a woman. I will never be a real woman, right? This isn't Pinocchio where all of a sudden I can be a real girl, right? So I can just live my life the way I want to. I'm not trying to fool anybody. And I'm never going to walk down the street and somebody's going to go, wait, are they really a guy or a girl? No. They can tell. Right? So, like you said, it comes out of common courtesy.
Now, is that something that Now, is that something within the community that's kind of an accepted thought process where just the minority are getting all mad about it?
I think more people are getting mad about it than the people who aren't getting mad about it.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
No, we froze up. You gotta love you gotta love T-Mobile, and I know if you guys are watching this live, I'm gonna have to get a booster or something. I think we might have lost her. All right, well, I'm gonna. One of the projects that I have been a part of is something called Dawn of the Dude. Dawn of the Dude is a series, and it's going to be coming up. We're going to start filming it. We'll see if Devina comes back on. If her little pitcher breaks loose, we'll get her back on. But this series is coming up this fall. We're going to start filming it. There's a way that you can be a part of it, too. And if you would like to be a part of it, man, all you got to do is follow the link and help us out. So let's enjoy this. We'll see if we can get. Oh, there she's back. Let's go back to Devina, and we'll. We kind of froze up a little bit there. Oh, now I don't. Oh, now I don't have any audio. I don't hear your audio. Nope, still no audio. Still no audio. In this grand, this first show back after a year and a half, we're having our troubles. I see Leland Freeman will be up next segment. He's already in the green room. I think we lost it. Wave if you can hear me. Oh, technology. You good? All right. Well, hey, Devina, I don't think we're going to... That's okay. We're near the end of the segment anyway. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for being a part of the show. My first show back, Season 10, Episode 1. It was great talking to you. You can come back on anytime. And I do miss the wrestling, though, and I miss Duckman. I think Duckman should make an appearance. All right, but we've lost your audio, so give everybody a wave. Thank you so much. I don't know what happened either, but good stuff. Thank you so much for coming on, Devina, and we'll talk to you soon. All right. All right, that's Devina Coulomb. Come on, and you know, and we'll talk about this in the next segment a little bit, but you know, we live in a country now that you can do or be whatever you want. So to get hung up over this, I think it's a huge distraction. And we'll get into a little bit of that in the next segment as we talk politics and kind of what's going on behind the scenes. Because no one's really saying anything about the dollar being devalued and China kind of using their money to buy oil from the Saudis. But that's all later. Right now, let's enjoy some Dawn of the Dude. I'm Mike Allen. This is the Mobile Man Cave. And for the first time in over a year, you're back on the air.
You guys got a plan, right?
We are the last hope for humanity.
All right, that was my bad. Let's start this over again because you got to hear all the. I mean, they did such a good job on this. That was my fault. This is what happens when you try to produce and do everything yourself. Dawn of the Dude.
I will devour this world.
The Girl Scouts have gained control of the Capitol in D.C.
I have declared martial law. If you don't buy Thin Mints, we'll feed them to the pigs.
I fear for this world.
All your souls
Damn, I look good.
belong to me.
Am I the only one with those special powers?
You guys got a plan, right?
We are the last hope for humanity.
We are so boned. Dawn of the Dude.
We humbly request your support financially by backing our campaign. Help us get the word out by sharing our project. We appreciate your support. We can't thank you enough.
Mike, Alan, OTA commissioner. That's it. I'm the OTA commissioner.
OTA.
So the fantasy football
Yeah, OTA Sports
Fantasy
Commissioner.
football.
That's right.
on the air with Mike Allen.
Yes.
OTA league commissioner. So that's what I do.
I have to play a quick video, and then we'll be back, and we can talk as much as we want, because it's my show. The stream has been crap all night, but I am recording it, so anybody watching this, this is a recording because the stream, I'm watching it over here. Now it's excellent, but I don't know. Who knows? T-Mobile home internet, man. Yeah! Love it. Well, you know what? I'll play the video at the end. We got Chuck here. We're rolling. Chuck!
Mike.
Where's is it Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, he's in Cleveland. The huge contract.
The Baltimore kid that they're not signed yet.
Jackson?
Yeah, Lamar Jackson. Where's Lamar Jackson going? That's what I want to know. And why?
My guess is he's going to stay in Baltimore because he has screwed himself so much by having his family be his agents. Nobody wants to deal with him. Plus the fact they just signed OBJ, which, to be honest with you, for that kind of money, that's a Justin Verlander deal.
Yeah.
Why did you sign him for that much? He's not worth it.
Well, not even
Seriously.
Not only that, now you've limited yourself on what you can spend to protect the quarterback to throw
Yep.
the ball to OBJ. I mean, that's a big problem that Detroit's had forever until recently, is that they dump all this money on one player. Well, then you got nobody else. I mean, there's a reason why Tom Brady lasted 24 years and got
That's
7
right.
Super Bowls, is because he wasn't the highest paid guy. He went in every year and it's like, what can you do to get guys around me so we can get another championship?
Exactly. And that's why the Packers are trying to trade Aaron Jones or Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. Well,
And boy, they've got the Jets over.
they got him over.
I mean,
the
yeah.
the Jets are going to.
Jets have to get him now.
Well, not only do they have to get him, they're going to have to suck. They're going to have to embrace the suck, man, because he's.
Of course they will.
He's going to wipe them out.
They're the Jets.
And the Jets have no defense. Actually, they actually had a pretty decent defense last year, and then was it Darnold? Was their quarterback that got hurt? That was pretty good. They started out really good, and then the quarterback got hurt. I think it was Darnold, and then they got nothing. They had nothing. They had no offense. So, but it'll be interesting. I mean, didn't Favre go to the Jets first? After Green Bay?
Favre went to the Vikings first,
Now
and then the Jets.
Went to the Jets and ended up at the Vikings because they didn't want to trade him with.
Okay.
They didn't want to trade him within the conference
Division.
The division.
Yeah, conference
Didn't the
too.
Jets have Tebow for a couple of years?
Yes.
No, they didn't.
Didn't he?
Tebow played for the Broncos.
No, but then he bounced around and finally left. I think he did play for the Jets, but I don't think he played for him. I think he was on the roster. But they all.
So the Jets are where quarterbacks go to die, is what we're saying.
Pretty much. Now Tebow.
Okay.
I think Tebow would have had a really great career if he just would have went to end. Tight end.
Went to where?
Tight end.
Tight end.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It could have been what, who's the New Orleans tight end right now that does that?
Smith. No. Shoot.
It's on the tip of the tongue.
Yep. I know what you're talking about. He stepped in.
Yeah, the guy plays tight end and does Wildcat quarterbacks sometimes too.
That
would have been Tebow.
He stepped in because of injury and played for a couple of plays. So, yeah. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, they just want a 2023 second round, which they're going to get, but they want a conditional 2024 first round pick. Aaron Rodgers is not worth the first round pick at this point.
No.
Are you kidding me?
No.
God.
No.
Brutal. And the Jets are going to pay it. They have to.
They'll pay it because
they have to have Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, they'll pay it because you're right, they have to. And it's almost sad at this point because they have.
Yeah, it is.
They have nobody else. I think Darnold went to Miami, and they gave up their franchise. The problem with the Jets and the Lions had for a while, but they've actually stuck. I'm surprised they stuck with Stafford for so long because they paid him a shit ton of money. But the problem with these teams is they want the one player fix. And that's not how it works. It's not how it works. You either
look at the Broncos with Russell Wilson here.
Well, yeah. But now he's getting a good coach, so now we'll see.
Yes, he will be better this year.
Yeah, and because the Saints coach, the old coach of the Saints, and I don't know why my mind's going blank on all this crap. But it's been a long day. Well, I was on the ring. I worked all night. I went to class yesterday, worked from midnight till 5, drove home, no, I didn't. I drove straight up to Maynard, Texas, to the range, and all I had to do is qualify. All I had to do was qualify with my shotgun, and I ended up being a range officer. So I ended up qualifying people on shotguns. I was acting as a safety officer, so I didn't leave the range till 1 o'clock. So I got home and I'm working on 3 hours sleep after being up all night and being in the hot sun at the range all morning. So I'm doing pretty good. I think I'm hanging in.
Taysom Hill.
That's it.
New Orleans Saints, Taysom Hill.
Yep.
Quarterback or Wildcat quarterback and tight end.
So part of this new format, guys, is I'm going to have to depend on you guys to do all that kind of research. Because I got too much shit going on.
Oh yeah, we have nothing going.
Yeah.
Good.
I didn't say that, man. Yeah. You know what I mean. So Detroit is picked to, according to ESPN, Detroit is picked to be the NFC North champions this year.
It's a possibility.
I can kind of see that.
I have been a Detroit guys. I've been a Detroit fan my whole entire life. I am not going to even believe it until I see a graphic on the screen that says Detroit Lions 2023 NFC North champions. I don't care if they're 16-1. Because right now they could go 2-14. I don't know. I don't know what they could do.
But sports is full of flukes. I mean, you look at the Kansas City Royals a few years back with their World Series.
Yeah.
Same thing with the White Sox in 05 sweeping the NL Astros.
Well, there's
That wasn't a fluke though when the Royals won. Because they had the farm down on the farm. The minor
What about
leagues,
the Cubs in 2016?
same thing.
What's that?
They built that team. They built that team.
But they weren't able to sustain it though.
A better example would be the '69 Mets.
There you go.
Because they came out back.
Or the '86 Mets, the two Miracle Mets.
Yeah, the two Miracle Mets. I mean, it came out of nowhere. A bunch of underpaid dudes that just decided, hey, we're pro baseball players. We're gonna play good. And you know who was on that Mets team?
Which one? 69?
Nolan Ryan.
The '69 Mets. Nolan frickin' Ryan.
69. Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, I watched
his only World Series victory.
I watched a documentary about him. That's on Hulu, I think. That's pretty good. It's a good documentary.
Is it?
Do you know that Nolan Ryan never won a Cy Young Award? Not one.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
That is crazy.
Isn't it?
7 no-hitters.
Do you know how many? Do you know how many times
he also blew out his
20 games?
Hold on, Leland. Go ahead, Chuck.
Do you know how many times Nolan Ryan won more than 20 games in his career?
Oh, like over half, I think.
Nope.
No?
Once.
Twice.
Wow.
Back-to-back years. That's it. Isn't that amazing?
That's. Well, he did.
Think of all the horrible Rangers and Angels teams he played on.
Yeah, that's true. Because he wanted to stay close to home, and that's that's honorable. You know.
Yeah, the man was able to build a legend around himself because his command wasn't the best. And the other interesting fact is he blew out his arm twice. It was, 85 that they said he should have had Tommy Johns. He said no, and it healed itself.
No, he had bone chips in his elbow. That's what they said in the documentary.
And then it blew out 2 games before he was supposed to retire, but then it ended up healing itself again.
Yeah, I mean, he was a tough.
Could you imagine Nolan Ryan pitching for the Rangers with the roof?
Oh.
He would have been like Randy Johnson.
Well,
back to back 20 seasons.
At least.
For sure.
At least. And he was throwing above 100 miles an hour all the way till the day he retired. He never lost. Matter of fact, he got stronger later. And one of the records he set is he has 5,700 and some strikeouts, which the next nearest guy is in the 2000s. So he
was able to get people to chase.
What was it? Randy? It was Randy Johnson said that those 2 records. There was 2 records that will never, ever, ever be broken: the 7 no-hitters and the 5,000.
What's amazing about him is with all those strikeouts, he threw so many pitches. It's amazing he has an arm.
I know.
Right now.
What the other thing they covered though is his workout regimen was.
Yes.
Stuff a legend. I mean, kids would try to come up and hang with him, and they couldn't. And he did that all throughout his career. Yeah. And then, of course, he had.
And then there was the famous. Was it a couple games before he blew out his arm when the guy charged the mound? That's like the only time someone ever was able to get three hits off of Nolan in the same game.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. I can't remember. Oh, it was Pug Rodriguez.
Robin Ventura.
Pudge Rodriguez was catching that game, and when Ventura rushed the mound, he says, "You know, I don't know how many times that when a batter rushes the mound, what you don't hear is them saying, 'Catcher, catcher, grab me, catcher, grab me, don't let me go.'" He says he charged the mound because he had to, but he didn't want to. And
I'm curious how Nolan would have done in this pitch clock era of baseball.
I don't know. I'm not digging the pitch clock, by the way. I was going to get you guys.
I'm not either.
I'm not digging that. I mean, it takes. But anyway, I don't know because he didn't really have a lot of time between his pitches from watching him.
No. He worked pretty quick.
He worked quick and he had a good rhythm and it kept batters from being able to have time to absorb what they were trying to hit. 100-mile-an-hour fastball. But I think
Yep.
the most iconic thing about it is Nolan is when Bo Jackson line drived one into his face. I think it broke a tooth, and I don't know if it cracked his jaw, but he was in rough shape. Oh no, it split his lip. It split his lip.
That's what it was. Split lip. Yep.
He finished the inning because that was like one of the last. He finished the inning, went into the dugout. They stitched him up. He went out and finished the game with blood all over his uniform. Can you imagine a batter coming up to the plate and your pitcher's out there with those eyes, and he's covered in blood? It's like, I ain't got no chance, man. I mean, who was it was a Detroit game back early in his career where the guy just went into the clubhouse and came out with a table leg. He says, I'm not getting this. I could come out with a spatula. It's going to have the same result as if I brought a bat.
Oh my God!
Now, what I want to talk to you guys about the pitch count because
the
pitch clock. Now, although I support a shot clock in high school basketball, I do not support the pitch clock. There's something about baseball, and it was said most poignantly in the absolutely phenomenal documentary about baseball. If you ever have a chance to watch it, I think it's on Amazon. You have to buy it from I'll think of his name, but he does documentaries. Great documentary on baseball. Who was it?
Ken Burns.
Ken Burns. Yeah, if you ever watch that, you could binge watch it.
I've seen it 3 times.
Oh, I try to. When it was free, I watched it every year, and now I got it. I think I'm going to end up buying it. I don't think about it when I get to it. But anyway, one of the things that was said by one of the people they were interviewing is baseball causes when you watch a baseball game, the flow of the game invites conversation and pause, and there's action within the subtlety of the battle between the pitcher and that beauty, I think, is being taken away by the pitch clock. What are your opinions?
Go ahead, Leland.
Okay, I think that it just completely throws the rhythm off of the pitcher, as well as the reduction of the shift. It's basically turned the game into more of a home run derby, where you can have a bunch of Carlos Lees, just kind of whack it into the outfield, and they're able to get into the outfield because there's no shift, or it goes up the middle, and it just completely hinders the defense and the fundamentals of the defensive play. And that's why you have teams like Tampa Bay having a perfect record. It's just kind of like a gimmick and smoke and mirrors.
Okay, one of the things we're going to do, Chuck, is we're going to get Leland a stand for his phone. But Chuck,
probably gonna end up using the laptop.
But Chuck, your thoughts?
You guys are so wrong. And understand, I've been following baseball since '69, and I've been covering it since I was 22. Okay, I understand. I'm not arguing that you're not making good points, but here's the thing: the game has made adjustments from day one. The mound wasn't as far back as it was. The mound wasn't as it was. The batter's box was different. The gloves, the equipment, everything's changed over the years. This is another thing that's changing. Yeah, it's a big adjustment. But there's been other big adjustments as well. The shot clock. God, you think of shot clock, Mike. The pitch clock is good. I've heard managers on Sirius saying that they do like the clock. Now, you can argue that, okay, a couple of these guys are saying it because of Major League Baseball. That's fine, but not everybody's going to say it because of that. I have not heard one manager who disputes the clock. Basically, what the clock has done is, obviously made the game quicker, but also it's gotten rid of the crap. The batter doing the dance with the bat off his feet, stuff like that. I played ball. I know. Okay? Yeah, it's made it tighter. And I will argue that Leland, I don't know where this Carlos Lee crap's come from. There's more steals. Steals are up 3 times than what it used to be. There's more bunts. There's more hit and runs. It's getting more to small ball than it used to be. And the reason that Tampa Bay is where they are, they've had crap for schedule so far. They haven't played anybody yet. So that's my thought.
Well, then what explains the Astros when they lost to the Tigers? They lost 2 of 3 to the Tigers, and they lost 1 of 3 to the Pirates. And where I get this Carlos Lee crap is that you have pitchers that have their own circadians. They've been pitching for their entire careers without having to deal with a clock, and now they're basically being forced to speed up their rhythm in a way where they're now going to be leaving a lot more hanging sliders or hanging fastballs over the plate, so that they're just going to be belted into the upper deck of the outfield. Those few stadiums that still have upper decks in the outfield. I mean, what I'm seeing now is they're ripping out these outfield stands and putting in party areas, low dollar versions of what suites and club area is, and they're basically making it so the game is in the background, not the focal point for people to actually converse and party. Another interesting side effect of having the game shortened is that the Astros and probably a lot of other clubs in the league have decided to continue selling food and beverage, which includes alcoholic beverages, all the way through the end of the 9th inning. They used to cut it off at the 7th inning as a safety precaution, so you don't have people drunk and leaving the stadium. But because the games have been shortened, they realize they're losing revenue, and so they have to extend it to the 9th inning to get the same amount of minutes that they could actually sell food and beverage.
Well, that's not the angle I was using, but I just think it...
Leave it to Leland to go there.
Well, obviously it's driven by money. Baseball...
Of course.
Baseball viewership has gone down, of course. And I think that's just because of the advent of so many other sports that are now available. You got soccer, you got cricket, you got channels for everything, so baseball, it suffers, especially watching baseball on TV. Now I'll watch a World Series on TV, I'll watch a playoff on TV, but just a regular season 162 game, the stands are empty, it's on a Tuesday, no one takes off work anymore to go see these games, and they're just trying to get the game in. That's a long 3 hours watching a game, and
2 hours 30 minutes now.
2 hours and 30 minutes. And I usually put it on when I want to take a nap, to be honest. I'm going to be honest. Golf and baseball, I put it on and I take a nap. It's just
American pastime.
And I'll kind of roll over and open my eyes to see what the score is. Of course, my Tigers haven't done shit in so long. It's like,
They don't make it easy to watch. I mean, between the regional sports networks going bankrupt, and then, let's use an example, the MLB app, which, if you had T-Mobile, they're giving to you for free. And it's like, okay, cool. But then they black out certain markets for certain teams.
Well, and
the entire state of Texas is blacked out from the Rangers and the Astros. So those are the teams I care about the most, and yet I can't watch them.
And to be honest, I think this whole archaic regional viewing bullshit needs to go by the wayside.
Yes. All these blackouts need to go bye-bye. If you want me to be a fan of your team, then let me watch the game. And then also don't make the tickets so damn astronomically expensive.
Yeah, it's like $375 to go to a game for one person, to go to Houston.
It's unbelievable.
But I was talking about is, I'm from Michigan. I grew up watching the Tigers. I grew up watching the Lions, the Red Wings. And I just got an offer by YouTube TV, which I use because I don't have a carrier, that for $345 plus $35 a month, I can get Sunday ticket. And I'm thinking, why am I paying almost $500 a year just so I can watch the Detroit Lions like throw up all over the place. One, it's the Detroit Lions. I still love them, but I'm not paying that kind of money to watch that. You know, and when I had Sunday ticket through the satellite carrier, DirecTV, it was the same thing. I got it for like the first year for $40, and then I got hit with a bill for $450 for a 16 game
Yeah, you have to be careful to make sure that there's no rollover and you get dinged. And then on top of everything else, the leagues are changing carriers. I mean, a good example is MLB dropping YouTube TV for an obscure carrier called, was it Fubi? We'll ask Chuck when he gets back.
Fubu, it's Fubu. And they're good. Fubu's
Fubu.
Good. But you got Fubu, you got Freevee, you got Hulu, you got YouTube TV. The point I'm trying to make is you should be able to log in to your home team towns for free anywhere in the world, whenever you want to. There shouldn't be these restrictions on what you can watch, where you can watch it, how you can watch it, all this other stuff. And I think it's just it's silly. You know, I could see back when there was TV, you didn't have a choice. I mean, you couldn't carry every single game around the country because you only had 4 channels.
Or they were encouraging people to go to the stands at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Like in Dallas, they black out the Cowboys where you couldn't watch it on TV if you lived in an area that where you could easily drive to the stadium. I get it. That was the 60s and 70s. This is now it's on demand. We have apps for everything. I don't watch TV. I don't say, hey, my show's on at 8. I got to have everything done and the dishes washed so I can sit down and watch Dharma and Greg. I don't do that. I just, you know, whenever I want to, whenever I'm in the mood, I sit down, fire up my Fire Stick on my TV, which turns the TV into a smart TV, by the way. So don't buy a smart TV. Buy a regular TV, get a Fire Stick. You heard it from me first. And I go in and I if I want to see a documentary, if I want to watch a show, I could binge it. I don't have to watch just one episode. And I should be able to go in, set up a profile for the Detroit Lions, Detroit Tigers, the Red Wings, the Pistons, and go in and watch my hometown teams even though I live in Texas. I shouldn't have to be forced to swallow the bile in my throat as the only game I can watch is the Dallas. Sorry, hold on. The Dallas.
You know, it's interesting. When we started the streaming high school athletics back in, really kind of caught on in 06. We would get the same argument that, hey, aren't these live broadcasts? And we started out audio. It wasn't even video. It was audio. And ADs, the coaches would say, isn't this taken away from this live game? Well, it proved it's. And of course, I mean, now the subject of high school football, but the line was this. In Texas, football is king. If they're going to go to the game, they're going to the game. They're not staying home to watch the broadcast. They're going to be inside the stadium on Friday night.
But you know who?
And we finally got our biggest turn was when the Westwood coach argued with me, and he said, all right, I'll do the first team. If I see we're going to promote the broadcast. And if I see a loss in gate, that's it. Sure enough, there was no loss in gate. He came back Monday, and he said, okay, we're in for the season.
And what's lost in this whole thing is all the alumni that don't live in the city anymore, that are stationed overseas, that live in other parts of the country, that want to watch their own alma mater play football or play baseball or play basketball.
Exactly.
And or
say
family members that don't live in
family members, your cousins that live out of town.
Yeah, grandma and grandpa want to watch their son play baseball, and I think what gets lost is there's always going to be a place for live sports where people are going to go watch it. I think the ticket prices need to come way down. I think that's a bigger problem.
Yes.
That's a bigger
and the concession prices too.
That's a bigger problem than having the game available on TV. I mean, but if it's a choice between going to one game that season and taking my son and my daughter and my wife, and it's going to cost us $1,300 to go sit in a cramped little seat at Regents at Houston Stadium, Reliance Stadium, to watch the, and not get the and not get the full game because you don't have no play-by-play. You're just watching the game.
Yeah, on top of everything else.
Or I can sit at home and
with this e-ticketing thing, you have to set up a Ticketmaster account.
Well, yeah, you can't even buy them at the gate. I mean, back in the day, we'd go to see Detroit in the Pontiac Silverdome, and the tickets back then were $15. Well, that's back in 1978, 79, and $15 was that's about $40-$50 in today's. But
yeah, you show up at the box office, give them your cash, they give you the ticket, you have a souvenir.
Absolutely.
Now it's you have to set up this account, and you have to link your credit card to your bank card. And then what they use is a rotating QR code, so if you have a dead zone by the stadium and your phone doesn't work, well, you don't get in.
Yeah, you can't even buy tickets at Longhorn games anymore. You have to have tickets when you get there. But you buy them on your phone, and they scan your phone. So I think it should. I think if they lift the restrictions and just allow you to go pick your team and watch your team, I don't think it will cut down on how many people show up at the stadium at all. There's still going to be people that are going to tell you.
No, not at all.
I think it will drive down ticket prices, which is a good thing. The one thing I like about Detroit is you can still buy a Detroit Lions ticket. And I've never been to Ford Field, but my father's been there, and he says it's a great field. There's not a bad seat in the whole place, and the seats aren't cramped. They're actually...
Well, an interesting little...
But
fact about NFL stadiums is they're going back to fixed roof.
And let me finish the thought. You can still get a ticket for $50 to go see the Lions in the upper decks. And the upper decks, Ford Field's not that big. It's 58,000. It's very intimate.
And the nice thing about a fixed roof is that the stadium is designed to be an indoor-only facility, which means it has padded seats, it's climate controlled, there aren't any restrictions and views because the thing is designed to be an outdoor and indoor stadium. The only retractable roof that's really worked successfully at growing grass is the one in Phoenix.
Well, that's because
the one in Houston.
Well, that's because in Phoenix they take the whole field outside.
Exactly, and that's the only reason why it works. The one in Houston is an absolute disaster. In fact, I am actually friends with one of the attorneys that sued the Texans due to that pod system, where a player blew out his knee, and is the reason why they've gone artificial turf.
Well,
and now the roof barely's ever opened.
I think everybody's going to that sport turf, and that sport turf's pretty nice. It saves injuries. It's helped with concussions. I mean, the proper sport turf. AISD, pay attention. Putting down sport turf and then putting sand instead of the rubber pellets in as filler. That's not how you do it. But anyway, that's Austin.
Yep.
But anyway, that's my tirade.
Well, here's the bottom line for me. If you're going to pay that much for an MLB package, you should get your team. Ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. You can't get.
Well, yeah.
I'm not an Astros or Rangers fan, but I expect to see them.
The whole state being blacked out is ridiculous.
Well, and it's archaic and it's outdated. And here's another. And here's
the fact that they use your cell phone GPS to geolock you out.
And here's another input. If you're worried about losing money because people don't show up to watch your team, how about field a better team? No one's going to pay money to go watch 0-16. Okay, no one's going to pay money to go in and watch your team get drugged by, As a matter of fact, a lot of these teams make their best money is when the all-stars of the other team and the out-of-towners that buy tickets from your hometown crowd because they don't want to see their team get drugged come in and watch the game. So if you want to make money, I mean, no one up in New England is bitching about money. No one in Buffalo is bitching about money. Probably the most horrible place to go watch and or play a game of football. They pack that stadium. And guess what? Their tickets aren't
Dallas.
Their tickets aren't $500 a piece. The working man walks through those gates and they throw themselves through tables and do other silly shit. But they sell out. And they've got a decent team. Now, when they didn't have a decent team, well, Buffalo's kind of weird. They still sold out, but and Detroit still sold. Even the 0-16 season, Detroit still packed them in. Detroit's been pretty good on marketing their season ticket holders and stuff like that, and it's a good experience. Even though the Lions, come on, Dan, get us there, buddy. But
there's two Major League Baseball teams in the money: San Diego and the Mets.
Yeah.
Two highest payrolls. They spend money to get guys. I mean, look at the Padres: Manny Machado, Juan Soto, Yu Darvish. Keep going. And the Mets, same thing. You know.
Yeah.
Scherzer, Verlander.
Yeah. And they
The
way
closer
overpaid
that's out for half the season.
They
No,
way
Verlander's
overpaid.
on the IL.
Yep.
Well, Verlander's best days are behind him.
Way behind them.
So I don't know.
Way.
Yeah, I don't know when someone's going to figure that out and not hire not.
Brain
This
figured it
season.
out.
This season.
But
Mm-hmm.
hey, this is a good first run. I went back in the archives. This is season 10 of On the Air with Leland.
Really?
Well, it should be season 11, but we took this year off. I'm gonna get this shit figured out. I'm gonna get a cell booster, or I might just eat the data, and when we do the show, I'll plug it into my phone. I'll tether it off my phone for better internet connection. I figured out Studio. I just can't remember where I put the file for the outro and everything like that. But hey, this is fun. And what's cool is it's pants optional for all of us. When the show's over, we're home. We don't have to drive anywhere.
Yep.
And I think this is going to work. What do you guys think? You digging it? Now, everybody needs to have the same video quality as Chuck.
You think so?
And me. I still got to do.
Hey, don't look at me.
I still got to do work. We need to get you a tripod, dude. I'm telling you.
Well, I'll use the laptop the next time.
I love your hamburger taste testing because you can tell you have the phone, you take a picture of the burger, and then with the hand that you have the phone in, you pick the burger up. So we have all the. I mean, it's just this fumbling around. It's kind of actually. I think I'd keep doing it. That might be your shtick. And then you just.
Well, the thing is, I'm
and then you try to
sick and tired of these guys that talk for like 30 minutes before they actually taste the burger.
And then you got this hamburger that any sane human being would use two hands to grip, and it's all flopping out, and you just shove it in your face. And that is the best content I can see on the internet, my friend. And that needs to be a normal thing. But we need to get you a tripod. Just a little tripod.
I got big hands, though.
Little tripod, put your phone on, you can set it up on the table.
$20 on Amazon.
Oh, not even.
Or we could just use, the laptop.
Or use the laptop.
Or you can use the laptop. Yeah.
Which I'll probably, yeah.
Well, I mean, you don't want to be dragging the laptop into Arby's to, use your phone. But just.
Oh, I thought you were talking about using the show, not using.
Oh, no, yeah, definitely. You got that whole vibe of holding your phone in the show too. I could tell you're laid back, your hands resting on your stomach. You're looking down.
You're a little too close to the camera, though.
Yeah, a little too close.
You don't need to see that much face.
You're not framed up. See, there you go.
There you go.
There's the music video I'm editing.
There you go.
What are you using? What video editing software?
That is CS55 on a Windows 7 partition.
Well, I tried to use DaVinci. Could not, for the light. I watched video after video after video. Could not figure out how to work that.
Here's the problem with DaVinci. You have to have an ungodly amount of video RAM for it to work.
Well, I couldn't figure it out. So I went back to what I used to have, which is
Vegas?
Magic Studio. But they had updated it so many times since the last time I used it. I opened up that today and I'm looking at it, I'm going, what the fuck is that? And a lot of the things that they did are good. Before you had to open up your file, here and then drag a file over and put it into the software. Now you can open up, it ties into your computer, so you can open up the file like a file window in the software itself. So there's some things, it's what I need to do is spend time with it so I can kind of learn my way around. But I got this great outro. Amy Gaines, you guys remember Amy? She came in and sang
Oh,
a
yes.
couple times. She wrote outro music for us, so we won't break any copyright stuff. It's beautiful.
Right.
I figured it out. I got all the stuff done, and then I know what I didn't do. I didn't freaking render it. I have to go back and render it anyway. But
Well, if the flamethrower should take like 2 minutes, right?
oh yeah, the computer power is not a problem. My computer is. I mean, I play video games at like 300 frames a second. I'm not worried about the computer. It's the owner operator in the software that needs work.
So the problem is between chair and keyboard.
Yeah, exactly. It's that meat sack between the keyboard and the chair. Absolutely. But in my defense, well, I have no defense. I waited till the last minute, thought it would be easy because it was easy before. I could throw something together in 15 minutes, and when I got into it, it was like, what the hell is this stuff? Holy shit! But anyway, did you guys check out the webpage?
Yep.
I did, yes.
We're gonna have a shop by the end of the year, and I want to do merch for each of the cast members, and then of course the show, so people can go and buy T-shirts. And of course, if you have a T-shirt with your likeness, or like the sports commissioner, or Leland, Freeman, Sky Marshall, or whatever you want to do on a mug or a shirt, you'll get a portion of that sale with your likeness.
Cool.
So that's my plan. I have to figure out how to do that, but other people have done it, so we're going to do that too and get mouse pads, mugs, T-shirts, pens, the whole thing. And I think they have companies that actually do all that stuff. And all you have to do is you have to
Just imagine toilet paper with Davis's face on it.
oh, that's at Mad Mike. A Mad Mike roll is going to come. That's going to be in the shop. I've already with a coupon to Taco Bell. The first one's going to be a scanned coupon to Taco Bell. I don't know, we'll figure out something. But anyway, but man, as always, when the show is fun and we're having great conversations, it blows by. It's already 10:16.
Yes, it is.
So, but
All right, you didn't start till.
No, I started at 9. At 9, but I guess I can only have 4 people on at a time. So I'm gonna have to figure out the transition from. Well, what I'm gonna do is I have a trailer for the movie I just got done. He's gonna drop that trailer to me. I'm gonna play the Dawn of the Dude trailer, so I'll have a good amount of time between segments to drop people and then send out invites for the other people, because I can only host 4 at a time. I thought I could do more, and I might even look at getting into like a meeting software that can host more people and just use that instead. But I don't know, man. It's a work in progress. I'm just glad to be back on the air. I missed it. I don't know about you guys, but this was, I have a lot of great memories of just hanging out.
Where's Radar?
She's up. She's sleeping. She's not happy.
Oh, okay.
She's not happy with me.
She's a granny puppy now, isn't she?
She's a granny puppy, and she is not in a good spirit. She's a grumpy puss, because I was gone for like 14 hours.
Oh, jeez.
And then when I got home, I didn't want to do anything but
man.
sleep. So I took her outside, let her do her business, and then she sat at the end of the bed. And then I said, "You want to cuddle?" And got up on the bed, and all she did is sit there and nudge me and want to get petted. It's like, I have got to at least get 3 hours of sleep, or I'm going to be worthless. So she's moping around. But
Poor baby.
Yeah, I'm going to take her outside.
Poor baby.
She'll get over
Yeah.
it. She's so spoiled. I take her everywhere.
As they all are.
Actually, I was going to get with my boss and see if I can start taking her to work.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, she is a shepherd.
Yeah, she's a shepherd. Yeah, when I'm watching construction sites. But I don't know, we have to look at insurance,
Liability.
Yeah. Even though I know she won't bite anybody, you still have that liability. Or if something happens to the dog, to the radar, on a construction site, if she falls or steps on something, they don't want to be held liable for me suing them. It's like, how dare you have random screws laying around your construction site, sir? But anyway, I did use her. She did go to work with me last summer when I was, we did security for the Trotter House, which is a women's resource center for women who choose to keep their children instead of aborting them. And they got some death threats from the pro-choice crowd, so they had a station there at night for 12-hour shifts, and then I had to go stand on the side of the road with their protesters for another 16 hours a day. So I told the lady, I said, I can do this, but I have a dog that I have to stay at home. She goes, I'll just bring her. I'm like, really? Yeah. So me and Radar were on patrol together. And she liked that.
Nice.
She liked that because the fence that was around the property was one of those wrought iron fences with a little gap. So people would come up and she'd go down and get pets, or she'd meet other dogs, and so she had a great time. But yeah.
Sweet.
So, but anyway, guys, thanks for coming. I think this is gonna
Absolutely.
work.
See you next week.
I gotta work on the internet, but I think this is gonna work. Leland, Chuck, appreciate. Oh,
right.
Chuck, when should we? When should we start promoting the fantasy league?
Anytime you want, man.
Let's
especially right after the draft.
Let's do it the show after the draft. We'll start promoting it. And,
there you go.
And then you can explain where to go and how many folks we're gonna have. Of course, anybody watching this, I always get the first round pick. Always. First pick overall. And I always
It's gonna be Baker Mayfield again this year.
Pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers QB Baker Mayfield. All right, guys.
All right, see ya.
Yep, see ya.
See ya.
Oh my goodness, where's my mouse? There it is. All right. Well, there it is. We're back. Before we leave, I got to play this one more time. Again, this is in post-production right now. We will be I will be filming it soon, but let's go ahead and watch this, and I will be right back.
I will devour this world.
The Girl Scouts have gained control of the Capitol in D.C.
I have declared martial law. If you don't buy Thin Mints, we'll feed him to the pigs.
I fear for this world.
All your souls
Damn, I look good.
belong to me.
Am I the only one with those special powers?
You guys got a plan, right?
We are the last hope for humanity.
We are so boned. Dawn of the Dude.
We humbly request your support financially by backing our campaign. Help us get the word out by sharing our project. We appreciate your support. We can't thank you enough.
Well, all right, that's it. Season 10, Episode 1 is in the books. Got a lot of work to do. For those watching the show obviously recorded because you couldn't make it through the live show because of all the choppiness. I'm going to get that figured out. Probably just going to end up using my phone tethered to it because it has a better internet connection. I was trying to use the T-Mobile, but I don't think that's going to work. But anyway, thanks for stopping by. So glad to be back on the air. I'm Mike Allen. This is the Mobile Man Cave, and every Thursday night at 8 o'clock, come join us, and you too can be on the air.